Hey, what's going on, guys? So for today's Mook review, we're going to be checking out the Gundam 0083 Stardust Memories issue of Gundam Weapons. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Gundam Weapons series of Mooks, these are from Hobby Japan, and they basically feature nicely modeled and painted versions of model kits that were available from different series. So this one is just all different model kits that were out from Stardust Memories. At the time of this issue, this is an older issue, so it's a little bit challenging to find. I wanted to get my hands on this just because we're taking a look at the HG Dendrobium at the moment. At least I'm in the process of building that and working on that for review for you guys. So this one, of course, has the Dendrobium in it. Shout out to Justin for helping me get my hands on this. I figured it was fitting since we're in the middle of the Dendrobium. There's other mobile suits and Gundams from the series, of course, featured in here, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Here we got the Dendrobium right there on the front. On the back side, the continuation of the Dendrobium, and the list price here for this one, 1,400 yen originally. That said, these days this issue is a little bit harder to find and going for substantially more than that, usually probably about like 3 times that price. Just due to its age and rarity. Interesting to note that this cover model is actually by Max Watanabe-san. That's quite interesting, just taking a look at the style of this, and we'll see this in some more photos here in just a moment, but just the style of it, I don't know, it doesn't look like Max. It doesn't say Max to me, but then again, I don't know, Max does have a variety of different styles, and that's one of the great things that makes him so good at what he does. So anyway, alright, let's check it out. Right in the first page here, I'm gonna guess that this is some trick photography, as we're seeing the new Zeal there in the background looking very large. I'm guessing that that's the 1:400 scale version of that kit, and they're just kind of combining the two there for that photograph. But anyway, here is our contents. We've got a lot more than just the Dendrobium in here, even though that's what's on the cover, but there's a nice big photo of that. And whoa, all right, so here's the HGUC Dendrobium. So we got a featurette on this. Basically, it's a 2-page summary, 3-page summary, I don't know, a multi-page summary here of what you guys saw in the unboxing video here for this. So there's all of the parts, and then this section down here for the Stamen parts for the GPO-3S. It's everything that you get with the regular kit, just minus the parts for the core fighter. But anyway, there's a look at all the runners there, which is quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this in a Mook before, where it actually shows photographs of every single individual runner for a new kit. But this is a big deal at the time, and so I think it makes sense that they would want to kind of make a very special feature talking all about it. So these are just some photographs of the kit unpainted, so snap built. This is exactly what you guys will see in the review, in my review of this. The text is all in Japanese, of course, but there's information about the different gimmicks and everything about the features of the kit. Now this one is a painted build, but this one is just not custom at all. This is just a strictly painted build. This is probably the build which is featured for the actual manual of the kit, I would imagine, because this doesn't actually even have any credits as to who this particular build was by, not that I can see here. But there's some more information over here about just like some of the, I guess, just some of the challenges for this kit, like the cap pieces, kind of how the containers go together inside of there, modifying the V-fin to make that look sharper and nicer, so it's cutting the front skirts, stuff like that. I guess there's just a couple of tips there for you. But here we get to Max's custom build. Now it's mostly just a custom paint job on this, as far as I can tell. It looks like there's some custom scribing on there as well, so he scribed some panels, painted some panels. Some of those panels, looking at this closely, it's kind of hard to tell. You can tell, like, you can see there's all these different kind of color panels. Some of those I imagined were just painted on, they're just masked and painted, but it looks like the majority of them were actually scribed on there first. So he scribed them out, then painted them. It makes the design a bit too busy, in my opinion. It's a huge kit, so you have a lot of space for adding more details to it, so I understand the kind of temptation to want to fill that space with more details, and it certainly does look interesting, probably more realistic, but I just find it a bit too busy for my taste. I liked the design just as it is without having like loads of detail on it, but yeah, when you have that much space, you know, why not use it? It's an awesome looking build, and here we have a fold out page here, which just folds out like this here for the full length of that. So take a look at that. Pretty awesome there. Nice composite image. You got the, it's not white base, but what is the ship name? I forget. Up there in the background, a couple of, or I guess a Gym Custom there, and a Gym Cannon, I believe that is, right down there. So they're mobile suits from the series. On the back side of that, Selfish Beauty, I guess. I'm not really sure. Sounds like a very Japanese thing, basically. So that's there. And then a feature here on just the GP03 itself. So again, there's a little bit of kind of sort of tutorial, or at least work in progress down here, just showing some modifications, basically how to make the chest kind of a little bit wider to make it look like that, to make it look like the center part is like actually the folded down part, like there's actually some articulation there rather than just being just a single piece. And a bunch more photos here. So this is really quite helpful if you are planning on working on the kit. I mean, it's just nice to see like some suggestions or some different modifications that you can make and kind of how to do that. If you just go ahead and translate some of that Japanese. For my build, if I am able to actually fully paint the kit, I'm hoping to, I'm not sure if I will quite yet, but if I'm able to, I'm thinking to not use the GP03 on mine. So this really doesn't matter too much for me. But the GP03, I mean, the HG kit, I mean, yeah, it's an old HG kit, so any kind of tips on how to make that look a little bit better is definitely useful. All right, and then we have a 1/44 scale scratch-built New Zeal. So if we go back to that front page, I was assuming this is just like some, just a trick photography basically, but no, that is actually a 1/44 scale New Zeal, which makes this pretty impressive. So this has got to be huge. I wonder if it says exactly how big it is. You can kind of tell in some of these photos, and we'll kind of go back through them. I'm just kind of looking to see if it says the total height of the model kit. It looks like it says down here that it's 53 centimeters high, so that's pretty tall. I would actually expect it to be even a little bit taller than that, but that's still a pretty big kit. So here you can see, I mean, just kind of based on how it's connected to the base, you can understand just kind of quite how big it is. It's huge. I think the largest scale version of this kit that you can get would be the 1/400 scale version, which I don't think is featured in here because I'm guessing that maybe that kit was not yet released at the time of this publication. But there's a 1/400 scale set of the New Zeal and the Dendrobium. Kind of a hard to find set as far as I know. I don't think I've ever seen it in the wild, and as far as I know, it definitely doesn't get reprinted very often, if you know, or I would say, if ever. I'm sure it has been reprinted at some point in time, but I don't know when. All right, 1/100 scale versions of the Gundams, and a little bit here of a Kouraki figure. This is a 1/8 scale figure, so it's probably about like yay big or so, about the size of like an action figure, so 1/8 scale, something like that. 1/100 scale Gundam development project over here. We've got the 1/100 scale. These would be master grade kits. Yep, so we got the master grade GP01 right there. The master grade GP01, 02, 03, that whole series are ones that myself and a lot of people agree are definitely due for 2.0s at some point. I'm really hoping that they're gonna make a 2.0 of the GP01, either that or a Verka, where you get the parts to make it either as the regular GP01 or as the GP01 FB. I think that would be awesome to just include all those parts, and you can make it either way that you prefer. This is a really nice build of that kit for sure. It's definitely a quite dated master grade, but they certainly did a good job making it look nice. So here you have the Cisalis, GP02A. This one as well, you guys know I have a bit of a rough history with this master grade. Tried doing a custom build of this and ended up just giving up just because, I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. That's all I can say. But yeah, I mean, this one, he certainly made it look good. Here it shows like the stock kit versus the customized build, so he definitely made it look a lot better. Got a few more photographs of that. I know there's a lot of GP02 fans out there. I used to like the design a lot more. These days, like kind of in more recent years, I don't really love the design quite as much. I don't know, it doesn't do it quite as much for me. It's really interesting. I think it's the color scheme. I don't know, the color scheme of it's just maybe what kind of makes it a little bit less interesting. I don't know. All right, and then we get to the GP03 Stamen. So this one, again, a master grade that's quite old and dated. Could certainly use a 2.0 or a Verka, something along those lines. But here we have just another really nice painted build of that. Before we move on here, just take a moment to pause here so you can see some of the photographs there, but a lot of really nice mix of like work in progress photos and then finished photos of the completed model. So that does look really good. And then moving on to a 1/100 scale scratch build of the GP04G Gundam Gerbera. So this is of course before the RE100 kit came out, but I gotta say, looking at this and then looking at the RE100 kit that we eventually did get, I think the RE100 kit looks so much better just in terms of the proportions and the details. But this, I mean, kudos to the builder. Who is this by? Matsumi Numamoto for the scratch building this. I mean, that's of course much more impressive that it's actually all scratch built, but I do really like what Bandai did with the RE100 version of this. It's a great kit, highly recommended to you guys, and the proportions, details, everything of it is amazing. It's one of those kits that totally convincingly looks like a master grade on the outside, in my opinion. Of course, it doesn't have all that much going on like underneath the hood. It's a fairly basic build, being in just an RE100. It doesn't have the full inner frame or anything like that, but it's a really good looking kit. All right, then we have, here's an interesting one, the GP03 Dash Gundam Calyx, I guess. I've never heard of this and never seen this before. So this is a custom conversion using the master grade GP03 and basically turning it into like a mini Dendrobium, sort of. So it's got like kind of these big containers there on the side. It's got a big cannon. It's got like the sub arms and everything. So essentially kind of all the elements of a Dendrobium, but it's not quite so ridiculous and massive. It's just kind of reminds me a lot of the full armor Gundam 7th, the armor that goes around that, or the Double X, like the G Falcon. And this is from like a kind of similar time when that was kind of popular to take the lead Gundams and put them in kind of like this big armor attachment, but not quite so extreme as like something like the Dendrobium. Okay, then we're getting into the best version of the Zaku II ever, the Zaku II F2. In my opinion, the design of the Zaku II F2 is so nice. It's my favorite, and in my opinion, the best version of the Zaku II design. So this one is the 1/100 scale master grade. Another master grade that I wish we would get a 2.0 of, and just based off of the 2.0 Zaku II, but I don't know, just because of the design that may not work, or they'll have to do something where they can use like some parts of the 2.0 frame, and then they'll have to make some new parts for the frame, of course, just to fit the design of the F2. But really hoping that at some point we'll get a 2.0 of that guy in master grade form. But the HGUC kit is fantastic. If you guys ever run into the HGUC kit, you know, for a fair price, I would highly recommend you guys pick one up because it's a really, really good HG kit. Okay, then Memories of Operation Stardust in UC 0083. I'm guessing these builds are now going to be some 1/44 scale builds. Yep, so this is the high grade Universal Sentry, 1/44 scale, GP01 now here. I'm not sure, kind of, in my opinion, how I would compare the HG and the MG just in terms of like the proportions and details. I don't know, looking at having seen the master grade earlier in the Mook here, I think the master grade looked better. The HG has that thing that kind of a lot of HGs ultimately can end up having, older ones especially, where the head is too big, in my opinion. And the master grade, it kind of has that as well, but maybe not quite as much. And here we have the first appearance of the GP01 FB. There wasn't a master grade version of that here in this Mook anyway, but here we have the HG version. If you guys are fans of the GP01, either version, I would highly, highly recommend you guys check out the RG. The RG, either version, is fantastic. Sometimes they get a bad rap. You hear some people talking about like how they have issues with stability and things like that. I didn't really think it was that bad of an issue at all, honestly, and the kits look fantastic, and honestly, they work perfectly fine. So those RG kits are really, really nice. I highly recommend you guys check them out. Anyway, here we got another GP03 in HGUC form. So is this the same model that we saw earlier at the beginning that was with the Dendrobium, or a different build? Nope, it's definitely different, but obviously, of course, going to be pretty similar. It's just a nice kind of clean, straight build here of the HGUC kit. But yeah, this one looks good as well. Oh yeah, anyone getting into some of the other non-Gundam mobile suits from the series, the Jim Cannon here, another really nice HG. It's one of those HGs that just looks really good. Doesn't really do a whole lot just because of the limitations of its articulation, you know, even though that's really not all that bad. But I mean, it's such a big chunky boy. If that's the style of, you know, mobile suit designs, especially grunt designs that you like, I would highly recommend that one here. The HG Jim Custom, I've not actually ever built, but I can assume it's pretty alright, just based on building the Quell, which I believe it shares a lot of parts with. This one as well, it's a cool design, but the color scheme, I think, for me is one of the things that just kind of, I never really checked it out too much just because the color scheme didn't do a whole lot for me. And speaking of, here we're back with another GP02, and I don't believe that the MLRS version of this is going to be in here because I think the MLRS version of the HGC came out later, probably after this publication. But again, oh, actually, now that I'm noticing this, this is actually not even the HGUC. This is actually a custom kind of modeled version, or like just, you know, a nicely modeled version of the 1/144 scale version. So it's not even the HGUC GPO2. It's just the old 1/144 scale version that was molded in like all like blue and gray. It's pretty nasty. There you can see a comparison between the original kit and this nicely painted version. Man, they really did a lot of good work to improve the look of this guy. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Okay, and then over here we've got a 1/44 scale Zaku II F2. This would be the kind of desert type, I guess. And this one is actually based off of the High Grade Goof Custom and Zaku II Conversion, modeled by Masaki Suzuki. So this one as well is kind of a custom build, sort of kit bash, and a lot of customization here to make a 1/44 scale version. This is long before the Zaku II F2 came out in HGUC. That's a little bit more modern. I'm sure it's been out for probably 10 years or more at this point, but at that point the HGUC version was not out yet, unfortunately for them, because it's such a nice model kit. But this is a really nice build of that too. I love the Rakuten bazooka there with that. It's just such a cool bazooka. I kind of love that with any like ground type Zeon mobile suit. It's a great looking weapon, but here the Zaku II F2, of course, that looks nice. So here we have the Dendrobium. This is the 1/44 scale HG version of that. Of course, there's that bazooka once again. Really nice clean build here of this guy. It looks like it's maybe got a little bit of weathering on there. If you look really closely, it's got some very nice, very subtle weathering around on the kit, which does look really good for this. The Dendrobium, also a really great design. I definitely prefer this version. The ground version is my preferred one, and just because the colors are so much nicer, I think, for the design. I don't know, the kind of dark gray, black, purple, and red kind of color scheme. It's not as nice. This one, definitely my preferred version. Another really great HG kit. It's older, but there's just so much to love about this kit. I can highly recommend this one to you guys as well, if you come across it. The Rikdom 2 here, this is another really great build here of this, based off of the HG No. Yes, but kind of. It is a conversion here, so it's the 1/44 scale Rikdom 2 and High Grade Universal Century Dendrobium and Gelgug Marine conversion, modeled by Toppa Ichimonji. So again, sort of like a kit bash assembly of parts there to make this. Really cool looking kit though. Here we have the HGUC, this would be HGUC of the Gelgug Marine. Really cool design as well. That's one thing that, man, I do love about 0083. They had a lot of really great Zeon designs in the mobile suits. The Gundams, they're fine, but I really love the Zeon designs a lot more than the Gundam designs from this series, to be honest. These different variations, the Dendrobium, the F2 Zaku II, the Gelgug Marine, these are really cool variations of these designs. And of course, the CIMA's custom Gelgug Marine as well, another really awesome custom. So some nice custom builds of that. This one, of course, did come out as an HGUC kit, but this is before that came out, so it's just based off of the Gelgug Marine HG kit, and everything else had to be customized for that. So pretty impressive. Turning the page here, it had me a bit confused looking at this, like, wait a minute, is that the same kit? No, it's not actually the same kit. It's slightly different. So we have two different takes on the CIMA's custom Gelgug Marine. This one is, let's see, this one here first is by Kazuaki Kojima, and this one is by Yukinari Nakayama. I don't know, between the two, it's a tough call. I think I like the shield on this one a little bit better, but this one's really nice. And like the head and the torso, the detail is kind of even more kind of refined, it seemed like, on this one. I don't know, but this one's good too. They're both really nice. So a couple of really nice builds there of CIMA's custom Gelgug Marine. We got the Gerbera Tetra. Of course, this was long before that HG kit came out as well. So this is just based off of the 1/44 scale version of that kit, the old 1/44 scale. Now, fortunately, we have a very nice HGUC kit, which I'll be reviewing for you guys very soon. Or if you're watching this video later, then that review should already be out. But yeah, it's one that I've had in my backlog for a long time, and so I thought, since we're talking a lot about the Dendrobium, might as well build up the Gerbera Tetra HG kit that I've just had for a while. So mobile armor in UC 0083. This one, okay, this one is the 1/550 scale HG mechanics version of the Dendrobium. Another really cool kit, but obviously much smaller, much more affordable, of course, but it's not going to have quite as much detail. It's not going to have quite the size and the presence that the HGUC has, but it's a really nice kit. if you guys, love the Dendrobium and you just don't want to spend the money, you don't want to use so much space for the gigantic HGC version. The HG Mechanics version is really nice, and here's the HG Mechanics version of the new Zeal as well. Both of these kits I actually built and painted, but it was before I was doing YouTube, so probably about a year and a half before I started doing YouTube, I built and painted these kits. They're long gone now, but both really cool kits. This kit in particular has some pretty rough seam lines on it that pose a little bit of a challenge, but other than that, it was a fun kit to work on. Definitely wouldn't mind, just because it's such an interesting design. I wouldn't mind working on another one of these at some point in the future. If I could get my hands on that 1 to 400 scale version, that would be cool. Alright, so here now we're getting to the end. Here is a Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 kit and a model catalog here, just kind of going over these are the different kits available, or the kits that were available at the time. Obviously there's more available now, luckily, but we're definitely due to get hopefully some more in the future. Some 2.0s or some kind of revives of some of these kits would be nice. Here's a collection of the some of the featured works from here, so you can kind of get a sense of the scale. These are all in 144 scale, by the way. So the Dendrobium, of course, which we have from the front, the cover, and then the new Zeal there, looking quite large. Up next, there's an interview here. I'm guessing this is with Max and some other folks. There's Max right there, looking so young and fresh. So yeah, there's just some more text here, just a bunch of text, I think, from the builders, just kind of talking about their builds. So that's what this section would be. It would probably be quite interesting, but there's just a lot of Japanese to translate there. So if any of you guys know of a source of these texts translated anywhere online, maybe let me know or drop a link or something in the video description below. That would be cool to see, because there's quite a lot in here about this. I'm not sure if I've ever seen this in one of these MOOCs before, where they include so much text about the individual models here from the builders. It's quite interesting. But yeah, as I was about to say, as we're wrapping up the video here for today, let me know which is your favorite mobile suit design. Doesn't necessarily have to be one of the Gundams, but what's one of your favorite mobile suit designs from 0083? It's a tough call for me, probably the Zaku II F2, I guess. But after that, I don't know, I do really love that Gelgoog Marine. The Dom Troppan's really cool. And the GP03, it's unfortunate that both the HG and the MG version of the GP03 I think are just kind of meh. Hopefully we'll get a new version of that, whether it be RG or an MG 2.0 or a Verkar or something like that, because I do like the design of the GP03. It's probably my favorite of like the main Gundams from the series. So hopefully we'll get a newer, updated version of that design in the future. But let me know your guys' favorite design in the comment section. Here's just a really cool section at the back of the book here, just as we're finishing up, with a lot of technical illustrations here of, there you saw the Gundam, there's the Dendrobium, some more of the Dendrobium, just a lot of line art here in this. Tons and tons of line art of the Dom Troppan, the Gelgoog Marine, and I guess that's it. So that was it. But some really cool line art there to wrap up the book. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of this one. What's your favorite mobile suit from 0083 and why? And of course, if you guys are looking to pick up some kits for yourself, paints, tools, supplies, any of that good stuff, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store down there. Thank you, as always, for your support. Thanks for checking out the video. If you'd also like to like and subscribe while you're here, that'd be greatly appreciated. But until next time, hope you guys all have a great day. We'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.